Welcome to our weekly webinar. My name is Jimmy Rishe, and I will be your host for today. We're talking about configurable data-driven dashboards today. Let's get started. Before I proceed, Alyssa here has a few words about our services and products.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Good morning, everyone. Like Jimmy said, my name is Alyssa, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about Qdabra before we get started here. First of all, I just wanted to let you guys know about our community, InfoPathDev.com. And this is actually an active forum. We have free support, product downloads, we have blogs on there, and it's just a great information resource, so definitely check that out. And for a more urgent support option, we do have pay-as-you-go support packs that you can purchase in our web store. So that's a great option if you're looking for support right away. Qdabra also does consulting work for hire here. So if you're looking for Microsoft MVP's help on a project, contact us and we can set up a project meeting for you. Here at Qdabra, we have lots of tools and templates, and we actually have them available. You can test them, take them for a test drive with our free trials. And remember, we have that 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not completely satisfied, certainly let us know. We also have scalable lasting solutions available with our web services, and there is a free trial available for DBXL, our database accelerator web service. So you can download it, see how it works for your company, and definitely let us know if you have any questions about that. And lastly, before we get started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about our InfoPath training courses. We do have a beginner to intermediate course coming up September 30th through October 4th. That is going to be online, and again, that's beginner to intermediate. And then we do have an intermediate to advanced course coming up the end of October, the 21st through the 25th. Certainly reach out to me if you have any questions about the courses, if you're looking to get registered. Otherwise, check out the details on our website as well. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll hand the mic back to Jimmy.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. And here we go. Okay, so today we're talking about data-driven design in dashboards. So data-driven design is a concept that we like very much here at Qdabra. It fits very well with InfoPath. We've done webinars on this in the past, and I recommend that you check them out. You can see on this third bullet here, we had one on April 9th, 2012. And we had a whole series of them in 2012 about InfoPath surveys, so definitely check that out. Now, those of you who are wondering what data-driven design is, well, basically it's the ability to create a form or a solution that can change its behavior based on configurable data without changing the solution itself. A typical example we like to use is a survey form whose questions can be configured without actually modifying the form itself in InfoPath Designer. And you're going to be seeing that one version of that form during this presentation. Now, so that's great for actually collecting the data. I'm sorry about this. Where are we? Okay. So that's great for setting up the form to actually collect the data. But what do you do when you want to actually use that data that has been collected? Well, you've got a number of options. You could have the form submit to a SharePoint list, then download that data into Excel. This could potentially have some performance limitations if you happen to collect a lot of data. Another option would be to submit the data to a database and use database reporting tools to report on that data. This could give you very extensive capabilities, though it does require some knowledge about how to use those reporting tools. And the technique that I'll be talking about today is to actually use InfoPath and create a dashboard form that consumes that data and presents it to the users. Now, when you're using data-driven design, one thing you need to keep in mind is how to normalize your data. What do I mean by that? Well, often when you've got a non-data-driven design, you'll collect your values in fields with specific names for what they're doing, customer name, customer address, things like that. But when you're dealing with things that have basically an open-ended sort of values that can be collected, you need a way to store them in a more general way, in a more dynamic way. And trying to store them in name columns can be difficult and can make the data difficult to consume because it's not very generalized. So what do? Well, you can use key value pairs. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here with this screenshot, but basically we've got a survey that collects the answers from users, and then we submit those values to a list. So what we've got here on the left are the IDs of each individual response. So one person responded to a survey, and that had the ID 8. And then for each question, we have a row here in the list. So the reaction question, they answered 5. Would you recommend InfoPath question? They answered yes, and so on. And right here, this screenshot is showing a portion of 2 different responses from 2 different people. Now, so to display this data, this normalized key value pair data in a nice format, you can use a data-driven dashboard. So here's how that works. Well, you load a set of configuration values. We've got the configuration values defining what a single survey is in this survey concept. We've configured a survey. It's got a specific collection of questions, and each of those questions has specific text, specific control type. So you load up one, you have your dashboard load up one of those at any given time. It'll load the data that it's been submitted for that particular configuration, and then you'll just display it in a generic way by rearranging the values in those key value pairs. So instead of having a table with hard-coded column names, those will be dynamic. The cells will be dynamic, and you can display it all nicely. I'll be showing you that momentarily. Now, you can take that one step further. So once you've got this dashboard that loads up the data and shows it in columns, well, you can give the user the ability to configure which columns they want to see, for instance, and things like that. So you give them a screen to set up those options, and then you can give them the ability to save those options that they have specified, and then load it up later. So if you allow the dashboard to save these settings out and reload them later, this can save your users a lot of time and hassle. So that's it for my presentation, and I'm sure some of you are wondering how this survey solution fits together and how this dashboard works. So let's move right on over to that. And, I'm not sure what's going on with this magnifier. But we'll leave that. Well, let me close this for now. Or rather, no, it does not want to cooperate. Okay. So here's a site in SharePoint where we've set up this survey solution. So we've got this solution consists of 4 forms. The first one is a form that's just for creating a single question. So we've got a survey about InfoPath that we've added here today. So let's look at just one of those questions that we've added into the system. So the question is, would you recommend InfoPath to an acquaintance? We've given it a unique key, and then answer type is yes, no option. And then it has this this unique, globally unique ID just to ensure that it's definitely one of a kind. So we have another survey about vacations and travel. So here we have a question: if company provided your transportation, please provide the name of that company. And yet again, this has a key, and it's a text field. So then we move over to the form for actually creating the survey. And we'll open up the one for vacation, for instance. So what we've got here is really a pretty simple form. It's just a repeating section. And as you add items, you can indicate which questions you want to include in your survey, and as you pick them, it will show the question text for the question you select. I'm not going to leave that one in the survey. And then once you've added all that, you can just submit it off, and that becomes a document in SharePoint. So that's how you can dynamically create survey questions and the surveys themselves to be consumed by another form. So we'll move over to the survey form itself, and we can see that a number of surveys have already been filled out. So I'll just open up one here. Okay. So we see I've got this drop down here. It gives me two options. Since there are two kinds of surveys that have been added to the system, InfoPath Survey and Vacation, I can pick either one of those. So I'll go ahead and pick Vacation. So here, this will load up that configuration data that was saved out from the survey creator and the question creator. So, there it's loaded up the questions. So I'll just go about answering them. I'll just say Tahiti here, even though I've never been to Tahiti. How'd you get here? Well, typically a plane. I'll say I flew by Fun Flights Airlines. How satisfied was I with that company? I'll say 4. How much did I enjoy? Let's see. There we go. How much did I enjoy that location? I'll say 5. Tahiti sounds like a fun place. Here we've got some paging in here as another nice little feature. Would you travel there again? Sure. Great weather. Okay, so I've filled out all the questions, and I'll just submit that. And so here we are back in the library, and we can see I'm actually logged in as InfoPath Training 2 right now. So here is the survey that I just submitted. If I wanted to, I can open it up. Oh, that is not the one I just filled out. It's this one. So this particular survey form allows me to reopen the survey, change my answers if I want to. Let's say I didn't really enjoy it that much. I'll give it a 4 and then submit again. So that will submit my values again. And to pull these answers to a single response, what we've got here is 2 lists. So here's a list where we've got one row per response. So here's where I added my response. So this has an ID. It's got a title, unique title involving the date and time. And it's saying which survey it came from. This came from the vacation survey. And then as for the answers, here we have, this is, so basically what I showed you in that screenshot during the presentation. And I will, let's see. Okay, so here's my responses. So one row for each question, as I explained a little earlier. So the vacation location was Tahiti, the method was plane, the company, fun flights, airlines, and so on. So, so that's how we can go about setting up an InfoPath form to collect survey users in a very general and dynamic way. Now, now the main portion of what I want to show you today is this dashboard here. So we've done webinars on surveys before, but I think this may be the first time we've done a dashboard quite like this. So here again, this is dynamically querying the list of available surveys. And I'll go ahead and pick vacation. So that will load up the list of questions that are in that survey yet again. And it'll it'll present me with a list of the questions that are in that survey. And I can pick which ones I want to load up in view. So I'll pick this one. Let's see. I'll just leave out travel company satisfaction just for the heck of it. So that gives me 6. So I'll go next here. So here we are. So this dynamically pulled all the questions in the survey. We've got the column headers for these questions. There seems to be some trouble with this one. And we've got all the values that I submitted. So these are the comments. This is the comments column. So we've got some comments here. The company, how much did you enjoy that destination? Would you go again? So this gives you a quick view of all the responses that have been submitted. Down here we have a little summary section for certain types of questions. So this is for a rating question, so we can see how many people gave it 5, how many people gave it 4, and then we've got an average down here. And for the question, would you repeat this vacation? Well, 8 people said yes, and 1 person said no. So it's an easy way of seeing sort of those aggregates down there. Now I can save this. Saved. And close. So we can see here that this has created a document in the dashboards library. So I can just go ahead and click that. And here we are back again. I didn't have to select those columns all over again. And I can even click on one of these icons to just open up that survey and look at its contents. Looks like these links are not working, but not sure why that is. But the idea is that I could click them to open up a submitted survey. All right, let's just show one last little detail. So if we go over to the InfoPath survey, this has 8 questions, I believe. Yep, 8 questions. So I'll go ahead and select them all this time. Okay. I'll click Next. And here we are again. So, of course, you've got limited horizontal space for fitting these questions in. So even though I selected 8 questions, we've only got 6 here. So what does that mean? Well, we've got these little triangles here this time. So I can click on a triangle, and this will expand it to show me some additional questions. In this particular form, we've actually designed it to have up to 2 sub-rows to show up to a total of 18 data values per item. You can also see when I expanded that out, it gave us columns for every row, so that these sub-rows don't throw us off too much. And here again, we've got some aggregates down at the bottom. Now, some of you might be wondering how we got those column headers and the cell values to populate dynamically. So let's dig into that a little bit. So how does this form work? Well, okay, there we go. All right. Okay, I did not know how to use this magnifier today. I'm sorry. So first of all, the form loads up a list of the survey names. I'm not sure if you can, depending on your screen size, whether you can read this, but basically we've got title, survey name, value called isTemplate. We'll skip that for now. So this is just for populating that initial drop-down. Then here we have a data connection. This is actually a REST data connection that actually pulls that actual form as XML and just gives us access to everything in that form. So we query a single survey, and we can get the list of questions that are in that survey. We've also got a data connection of all the questions. So we cross-reference what's in that survey document against these questions, and we can populate that initial screen with the checkboxes and also these column headers. Lastly, well, not lastly, but here's this is a data connection querying the survey responses list. So we get one row for each of the surveys for this particular survey type. So when the form wants to query just the rows for that survey type, it will set the survey ID query field, query it, and then it'll just get a row for every response that the survey got. So that will become one row in each of these tables. And lastly, again, survey answers, we query the answer list based on the survey ID, as it also has the survey ID in that answer list. And that will just give us a row for each answer. So we've got a row for each response here in this table. So we want to display the column names. So I will just, so basically we're storing, as they check those boxes in the first view, we're building up a list here in the main data source of all the questions that they've selected. So the first question will be travel satisfaction. The next one will be additional comments. So to populate these titles, basically, so the first column will be the first question, the key for that first question. The second column will be the key for the second question, and so on. Here we have question brackets 3 / question key for the third question, and so on. And then for the actual answers, we need to pivot a little to get those answers. So what are we doing here? Let me paste this into Notepad and bulk up the font size of it. Okay. So answer is coming from the answer list. So I want to get the answer where the response ID is equal to the ID of the current row in this table here. And then I want to get the answer where the question key is equal to the question key for that first column. And then, so for the second column, I'm sure you can guess what that's going to look like. Pretty much the same thing, except it's getting the answer for that response and for the second question that has been selected by the user. And I'll just get one from this sub-row. Just still just the same idea. So this will be the one for the 7th question in the survey, all the way up to 18. And if you're wondering what the full XPath looks like, it's a little messy, but here we go. We're going to survey answers, getting an answer where the response ID equals the current ID, and the question equals the 7th question key from the main data source. So that is the essence of how this this solution works. I hope this has given you some good ideas of how to create similar solutions for your own organization. And I hope you come back and see us next week. Now, we're going to open up the floor for questions now. So questions are on a first-come, first-served basis. So go ahead and ask away, and I will answer them. Okay. So it looks like we've got a question here. Does the solution work with SharePoint 2007? My MOSS 2007. Now, my understanding is that MOSS 2007 does not provide InfoPath Forms services. Sorry if I'm wrong about that. So basically, you would not be able to run this in the browser on 2007, but all of the features here provided here are InfoPath 2007 compatible. So yes, essentially you could do so. And of course, these techniques apply to any version of InfoPath. And more than this solution itself, I just hope everyone walks away with the concept of these data-driven designs and dashboards. How do the drop-down arrows work to show the sub-rows? Is this a native feature? Well, it's really just something we've rigged together ad hoc. Basically, we just have some picture buttons here, or well, these are just ordinary buttons that are using Wingdings 3 as their font. So in Wingdings 3, the letter Q is the down arrow, so we've used that to create a button. So basically, all these buttons do is since submitter is not a value that we're using we're displaying in the form. We're just reusing the submitter field to indicate whether a row is shown or hidden. So we set it to 0 to hide it, and then this will just cause some conditional formatting to hide the sub rows. And if you click this one, it will set it to 1 to show the sub rows. And the same goes for these column headers. The column, basically, this is some tricky logic here, but the idea is that it'll show the first show this header for the first row of the table if nothing is expanded, or it'll show them for all of them if any are expanded. And again, these buttons here also have conditional formatting to hide them and show them alternately. Is QRules being used with this survey dashboard? Yes, indeed it is. QRules, we find it extremely useful for a lot of things, of course, but for adding rows to tables, copying rows of data from place to place, it can be quite essential some of the time. So we are definitely using it in all of these forms. Can you use graphs instead of tables to display summary data at the bottom? Now, InfoPath provides limited support for graphs, but there are techniques for using the Excel services on SharePoint to build up graphs. I believe we may have a blog post on that somewhere. We may have even done a webinar on it, so I definitely recommend checking that out. But I'd say there's some limitation on what you can do in terms of graphs here. How do the star buttons work? Okay, that's a good question. So let's see. We'll open up the survey filler. So the way this is designed is we actually got 10 stars here, and each of these stars is a button. So, so this button will set the rating. So if I click the first gray button, it will set the rating to 1. And when I say rating, I actually mean value. We have an answer field here which stores the actual answer. So if I click this, it'll set answer to 1. If I click this, it'll set it to 2, and then 3, and so on. And then there is conditional formatting to show or hide the right number of yellow and gray stars as needed. So if the answer is greater than 1, we'll hide the first gray star and show the first yellow, at least 1 yellow star. If it's greater than 2, we're going to hide 2 gray stars, and likewise for the yellow stars, if it's less than 1, we'll hide 1 yellow star. If it's less than 2, we'll hide 2 yellow stars, and so on. Okay. So it looks like that's all the questions we have for today. I'd like to thank you again for attending our webinar. I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks very much.